All right, so look, man, I found this video where it says the Eminem disrespect is crazy. Only reason I'm even doing this is because me personally, I do think the Eminem disrespect is a little much. For real, for real. You can at least admit that he's one of the top rappers, if not the top rapper, in the history of the game, man. I mean, me personally, I got him on number 2 on my list just because Lil Wayne is just my all-time favorite rapper. But other than that, like, you still got to respect the fact of everything that Eminem done, the music that he created and all that. But we about to hop straight into it just so I can see what they talking about. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you like this video. I'm trying to hit 30K by my birthday. We got 5 days until then, man. So make sure you get me to 30K. I think we only a few subs off, but let's get into it.
No, I can't even lie, man. The Eminem disrespect out here is crazy. I don't know what other way to put it. Have you guys seen how much Eminem has been getting slammed on social media this past week? An article by Eminem was recently published by Rolling Stone, and it went viral. That article started a lot of conversations, and those conversations made me want to make this video, so obviously I have a couple things to say about it. With that being said, let's talk about it. Now, Eminem. It's been a little while since we spoke about Eminem. Eminem really isn't all up in the media like that. He's one of those rappers like most OGs who lets his work speak for him. At this point, I don't really think Eminem needs to do any talking. His accomplishments really do speak for him. Can we talk about this recent article that was published by Rolling Stone though? So what happened was this. Rolling Stone released this article about Eminem that actually ended up getting a lot of backlash. They dropped this tweet on May 4th saying, Eminem has now been inducted to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame before countless black hip-hop pioneers who paved the way for his success. What message does that send? Just based off of that caption alone, I think you know exactly where this conversation is headed.
Yeah, because Rolling Stone is wild. Just because he got inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame before black people. Like, what does the white and black thing got to do with you making good music and being a rapper? That's one thing I don't understand, but let's
Stone attached an article to their tweet, which I'm going to go over in just a second, but first, some context as to why they even wrote this piece. So the other day, on Wednesday, May 4th, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame announced this year's nominees and who would be inducted. The man himself, Eminem, actually ended up getting inducted, which is kind of crazy because Eminem is obviously a hip-hop artist, and we're talking about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame here. By the way, Eminem is not the first rapper who's been inducted to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Before we continue, some rappers and rap collectives that have been inducted in the past. Jay-Z is one. LL Cool J is another one. The late Biggie got inducted as well. The same for the late Tupac. NWA got inducted in the past as well, specifically in 2016. The same for Public Enemy. They got inducted in 2013. Beastie Boys 2012. Run DMC in 2009.
So if all of these people got inducted to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, because it is crazy that he got inducted to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, but if all these rappers got inducted, then what's the big deal if he got inducted?
Actually by Eminem himself, and that is significant.
Joseph Simmons, Daryl McDaniels, and Jason Mizell dubbed themselves the Kings of Rock, better known as Run DMC.
So, I just want you to keep this in mind as we're going through this article. M is not the first rapper to get inducted, and I think that is significant. Another thing that's significant is the clip I just played you. M in 2009 inducted Run DMC, the rap collective, and presented them the award 12 years before he got it himself. Anyway, don't want to talk too much about that. Let's actually check out the article. I want to give my take on it and explore this conversation a little. So this is what the Rolling Stone article says, starting with the title. Eminem's nomination highlights the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame's hip-hop problem. If a white megastar gets in before so many other black pioneers whose work came first, what message does that send? Now, as far as my comments on that, Eminem is indeed a megastar who, yes, did come after a lot of his black contemporaries, but he did also come before a lot of them. Not only that, but Eminem's megastar status hasn't really only benefited him, it's really at the core benefited hip-hop as a whole because Eminem has been doing what he does at such a high level as a rapper in hip-hop. Through that process, he's managed to stay at the forefront of the rap industry for over 2 decades. He's brought in a lot of listeners to the genre of hip-hop, which has directly put money in the pockets of a lot of our favorite black artists in the genre. Continuing with the article though, this is what it says. When the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame released its list of nominees for 2022 induction, the debate we've come to expect given the institution's history wasn't far behind. There's no shortage of gripes from fans, many having to do with Hall's apparent blind spot for black female artists and post-disco R&B acts. What happened to Shaka Khan? That's a singer, by the way, for anyone who doesn't know. She's known as the Queen of Funk. What happened to Shaka Khan? Nominated several times in the past, but conspicuously absent this year. Why is it taking Dionne Warwick so long to get in? Sade's never even been nominated. How about groundbreaking black punk outfit Bad Brains? And surely George Michael deserves a shout, right? On this next part, they continue saying, but the most head-scratching news of all time is the first-time nomination of Eminem, whose inclusion this year highlights once again the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame's rather disrespectful treatment of hip-hop.
I literally don't get where they getting at. And me personally, I just think that Eminem is bigger than all the people that they asked him to be in. I don't care if they made music before him or not. Like, that's just my take for real.
I really could not disagree with anything more than that statement right there. Eminem being included in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is far from disrespectful towards hip-hop. Let me flip the script for a second and say this. Eminem is the only rapper on this planet with the sheer amount of accomplishments that he has who gets this kind of treatment from hip-hop and people in general. It's almost like a lot of people purposely choose to ignore the influence of Eminem. The fact that he's managed to become the best-selling rapper of all time in a predominantly black genre speaks volumes. And I think a lot of people don't like the fact that that is a thing, but putting your emotions towards the man to the side and just objectively looking at the work, the accomplishments, the success, the accolades, how can so many people who claim to be hip-hop heads not recognize the impact Eminem has had in the culture? This is coming from someone who doesn't consider themselves an Eminem fan, by the way, but it'd be very delusional of me to not say these things because the proof is right there. Eminem is probably one of the only OGs who gets nothing but love and respect from his peers in the industry, but at the same time gets a lot of shit by the general public. A lot of that obviously comes down to the fact that he is in such an elevated position, because we all know this, but success does bring hate, envy, and jealousy. That's nothing new. For Eminem, he is a white artist in a genre dominated by black artists, so naturally when he gets all this praise and all this credit, there's gonna be people who side-eye him by saying things like, how is this white man in the genre of hip-hop getting all these accomplishments, meanwhile his black contemporaries aren't even touching him? Also, I want to add this, man, this is very important. Any accomplishments Eminem gets, that is a W for hip-hop as a genre, because Eminem is hip-hop. So the way I see it, when Eminem wins, hip-hop wins. Continuing with the article from here, this is what it says. Let's get this out of the way. Marshall Mathers, taking on his own merits, has a strong case for the Hall. He's one of the best-selling artists of all time, and in his prime years, he was one of the genre's defining talents, an obscenely skillful lyricist who for decades has played the role of a jokester, storyteller, every parent's nightmare, I don't know about that, but anyway, respected rhyme tactician, and devoted hip-hop fanboy. The article continues by saying, it also hasn't hurt him that Eminem is white in a majority black genre, a factor that has helped him reach certain platforms his peers could never imagine. To his credit, he has made note of this fact several times throughout his career. He once mocked rock stations for playing his blistering manifesto The Way I Am, despite Slim Shady being about as rock as Redman. So just want to hit on that point. Yes, Eminem being white has most definitely played a big part in his success. This is something Eminem himself has acknowledged in the past, just like the article said. One example that I'm thinking about is on the record White America from The Eminem Show, when he said, let's do the math. If I was black, I would have sold half. I don't think any sane person out there has ever argued against this fact. In terms of the relatability aspect and the marketability side of things, Eminem has had an upper hand in comparison to his black contemporaries. The entertainment industry, period, is mostly consumed by white people. The same goes for hip-hop. Eminem, as not an artist really, but I'm saying as a human being, is a reflection of that majority, which does put him in a very advantageous position. However, that's only one aspect of his success though, because there's millions and millions of white rappers who've been trying and are trying to break into the rap industry, but all those millions of white rappers will never outdo Eminem, because everything is not just about him being white. This is when work ethic, drive, focus, discipline, purpose, growth, persistence, and all that other shit comes into play. This is also why Eminem is where he's at. The guy is hardworking, smart working, driven, and focused like no other artist. Is it really a surprise why he's the best-selling rapper of all time? To me, nah, it's not. Continuing with the article on this part, the writer says, so the question isn't whether or not he deserves to be placed alongside his idol, LL Cool J, who he performed with during last year's induction ceremony. It's whether he should be voted in ahead of all the other deserving hip-hop pioneers who just so happen to be black. Regarding that last part I just read, I want to say this, man. One doesn't get an award because they deserve it. They get it because they worked for it. So Eminem being inducted in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame has nothing to do with or doesn't take anything away from any other black artist in hip hop. I really don't understand why it always has to be a give and take situation. Why can't his success and his accomplishments be separated from other artists, just like other artists' success and accomplishments are separated from his? I'm asking a question I already know the answer to, and it comes down to the fact that Eminem is a white artist in a predominantly black genre. So naturally, these conversations are going to come to the surface, which there's nothing bad had about in itself, a conversation always leads to a conclusion, so I think it's important that we have them for sure, but we gotta get real and call it like it is. I think there's too much of an emphasis on Eminem being white and not enough of an emphasis on the work he's done, because at the end of the day, the only thing that separates Eminem from any other rapper is the work. Whether you like that work, that is another conversation. I'm saying objectively speaking, the work he's done is what's put him in the position that he's in today, so that's where our focus should be. I want to go through this last part on the article and continue with this conversation, but this is what the writer says. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame has a hip-hop problem. The idea that Eminem will get in before the likes of Eric B. and Rakim, who've disappeared from their ballet after their first nomination in 2012, Ice-T, De La Soul, Snoop Dogg, Nas, the Wu-Tang Clan, Outkast, and The Roots, opens up a problematic can of worms. Salt and Pepper, the first female hip-hop act to go platinum, multi-platinum, and command headlining status beyond the confines of rap, haven't even been nominated. All these acts are pioneers who've paved the way for Eminem's success, but they're gonna have to wait at least another year to be honored. To put it in simple historic terms, how would it have looked if the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame had inducted Gladys Knight before Aretha Franklin, Prince before James Brown, Green Day before the Ramones, Nirvana before Rem, or Kenny G before Miles Davis? Laughable, isn't it? Eminem is one of the best to ever do it, and he'll get his day. Until then, as always, hip-hop is watching. Link to the Rolling Stone article in the description below, just in case you want to check it out for yourself. This article was met with a lot of pushback, more so the caption of the tweet that I read earlier. Obviously, Eminem fans had a lot to say about it, but not just Eminem fans, people in general had a lot to say about it. And this does highlight an important conversation as it relates to Eminem, his place in the rap industry, and how him being white has helped him in hip-hop, but also how it's held him back in different ways. I think at this point in his career, how Eminem's white skin has held him back is more abstract these days than it used to be in the past, only because of how successful he is. Eminem is worth what, a couple $100 million at this point, 200-300 M's. I don't really know the exact number, but let's just say he got that bag. That being the case, I don't think people see the holding back part because the success really overshadows it. However, if we take an honest look at the conversation that's being had about Eminem 2 decades into his journey as one of the most accomplished rappers on the planet, Eminem is in a lot of ways the one who hasn't been fairly treated. Eminem has reached how many people with his music? Out of all those people, how many of those actually started tuning into hip hop as a genre thanks to Eminem? If that's the case, then why is Eminem getting treated like an artist whose success has only served his own agenda? When Eminem wins, hip-hop wins. That's something I think more people need to emphasize. And there really needs to be less of a focus on Eminem's whiteness and more of a focus on his extensive reach, which is directly fed into bringing more eyes and ears to the genre of hip-hop. If it wasn't for Eminem, a lot of people wouldn't be listening to hip-hop right now. That is a fact. Now, granted, it doesn't start nor end with Eminem. That is not what I'm saying. All I'm saying is his impact is undeniably immense. And I think that should be the focal point when we're having these conversations about Eminem. Eminem to me is a legend, straight up, man. And this is not coming from someone who's a fan. This is coming from someone who sees the work he's done, who sees the impact he's made in hip-hop and in the world in general, and respects that influence. A lot of people have a hard time giving Eminem that respect because he's white, and to me, that is very sad. But yeah, the Eminem disrespect, crazy. I'm surprised we're still having this conversation at this point in his career, but I guess it is what it is. Anyway, my thoughts on this aside, what do you have to say about this whole topic surrounding Eminem? I feel like...
All right, so what I got to say about it is basically, I already said it, but the same way he just said that he's not an actual Eminem fan, but there's no way he can deny his work ethic, his talent, his drive, the music that he created, his influence. Bro, it's undeniable. White, black, green, blue. I don't care what color you are, bro. At a certain point, you just need to recognize greatness and give people their flowers. And from him being inducted in the Hall of Fame before, like Snoop Dogg, Salt and Pepper, Rakim, a whole bunch of other people that Nas and people that he did mention, like there is an argument about that, but these people are not. A lot of the people that they never outsold him. They never did anything like. All right, so just say Snoop Dogg. He is a pioneer. He's definitely definitely a big influence. So I mean, there's an argument between certain people, but just because there's an argument don't mean that it's that you're right or that you're wrong. Yeah, Snoop Dogg could have been in before him. Salt and Pepper, Rakim. Yeah, them people could have been in before him. But as long as they get in, what's the problem? The same way that NFL has a Hall of Fame. Bro, there's people that's still not in the Hall of Fame in the NFL that was balling way before the newer people that's in the Hall of Fame now. There's still people that till this day that have not been inducted into these Hall of Fames that people will make a case that is disrespect. And it's not a color disrespect. It's a, oh, well, I did more than this, I did more than this person, and he got in before me. It's a voting system. He probably just scaled the votes. I don't see the big problem. Let me know what y'all think in the comments. I could go on and on and on about this, but not even going to do it, bro. We about to get up out of here. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. GoHammTV.